The nation is mourning the deaths of several women and girls who were murdered by men.
Holding the steak knife that he had been using, he jumped to his feet and rushed at me.
That night when I put in my statement, one of the officers at the police station says, "Oh, you know what? We don't have the time for this."
We know the names of Uyinene Mkhechana, Leandre Jechels, Janika Mallo, Ayaka Gianni, and her 3 little siblings. But we also grieve for the many others who have died at the hands of men.
There was physical abuse, verbal abuse, and emotional abuse.
Violence against women has become more than a national crisis. It is a crime against our common humanity.
South African law recognizes the right for individuals to defend themselves. Depending on the circumstances of an attack, killing a violent assailant is not classified as murder. But the law itself is very particular about when such killing is justifiable. The law of private defense or self-defense is primarily governed by the doctrine of the lesser evil. This means in instances where private defense is necessary, the victim of an attack should choose the lesser of 2 evils. Crudely explained, don't bring a gun to a fist fight. This is the doctrine of the lesser evil. However, the law assumes that the assailant and victim are equalized by virtue of physical ability or other factors such as equal force. This law has historically proven to disadvantage abused or battered women who are impacted by factors beyond the initial assumptions made by the law. In an op-ed by senior multimedia journalist at the Wits Justice Project, Sumeya Gasa writes,
"Considering that prisons mirror the realities in our society, it often baffles me that the impact of gender-based violence is insufficiently considered when the law deals with women who escape death by killing or maiming their abusive partner. Coupled with the poor recording of intimate partner abuse cases, the statistics on gender-based violence remain elusive and lumped together with crimes such as assault, common assault, and sexual crimes. Part of our problem is that we do not have a clear picture of gender-based violence in our country. Starting from the police who dismiss cases and encourage women to go home and work it out with their abusers, to a criminal justice system that has not contextualized self-defense in gender-based violence cases as a unique set of circumstances. Instead, women who fight back can earn themselves lengthy prison sentences dished out by a system that applies a singular approach to a complex issue.
In the process of researching cases and speaking to women who have encountered the justice system in the context of gender-based violence, the Wits Justice Project found the following. There is little or no regard for the experiences of women who have been abused before they kill or cause bodily harm to an abusive partner. The main victims of this oversight are poor Black women who cannot afford to pay for strong legal representation. These women have to contend with the constraints faced by the state-appointed legal representatives. These lawyers are often overworked by virtue of the majority of South Africans being unable to afford even the most basic legal recourse such as bail. Additionally, it is difficult for civil society and media to reach women who have already fallen prey to the inadequacies of our justice system, as our prisons do not allow for people who aren't lawyers to have the necessary types of visits an offender might need to acquire justice outside of the conventional lawyer-client relationship. This means even organizations like the Wits Justice Project that work on assessing and investigating miscarriages of justice are unable to adequately connect with GBV victims in order to research the impact of our laws on those who need to be protected the most. Instead, As is the case across the landscape of our justice system, the most vulnerable are unable to attain justice because of their disadvantaged position in society. Gasa writes,
When it comes to kidnappings, we understand the effects of Stockholm Syndrome. When it comes to women who live with and have complicated emotional connections with their abuser, we apply the same rules that apply to one stranger defending themselves against the attack of another. As far as choices are concerned, gender-based violence leaves women with very little. As a country, we've seen many cases where men take the lives of women who choose to leave. We've also seen those who stay end up the same way as those who leave. Those who are painfully aware that their safety is not guaranteed, regardless of whether they stay or leave, often have to choose in the spur of a violent attack. Him or me.
The 2019-2020 crime statistics reported that close to 3,000 women were murdered in South Africa during the period of the report. 943 children were murdered in the same year. This is important to note as the murder of women is very closely related to the murder of children. In cases where men kill mothers, they are likely to kill the children of the women if they are present at the scene during that time. The report also recorded a total of 53,293 sexual offenses. Of these cases, more than 42,000 were rape cases. According to Africa Check, the police recorded an average of 116 rape cases each day of the year. In a context like that of South Africa, researchers and civil organizations continue to advocate for laws that are nuanced in their approach to the defense mechanisms battered women resort to. In this vein, Gasa writes,
If women are to attain justice in this country, the system has to be overhauled. We require justice that is aware and considerate of the complexity of gender-based violence. The system needs to not only acknowledge the role that fear plays in ongoing abuse, but also factor it into the judicial conceptualization of self-defense. Most of all, women need to be assured, beyond doubt, that death is not the answer that will end their suffering, because the law will protect them whether they stay or leave.
This has been Him or Me, a 10-part podcast series by Wits Justice Project. I am your host, Lele Tutonisi. The Wits Justice Project investigates human rights abuses and miscarriages of justice related to the criminal justice system. You can get in touch with us by visiting our website at www.witsjusticeproject.co.za or Wits Justice Project on Facebook and on Twitter.